Hello, and thank you for your ambitious and inspiring efforts to fight homelessness in the U.S. Today, we want to help your organization not only advance its mission, but also combat stigma, detail the impressive work you do, show that you are improving lives, not just preventing deaths, and prove that you, unlike many other charities in your field, have outgrown exploiting the misery of your beneficiaries to solicit donations. Fundraising to address homelessness is not easy, and we recognize that it can be tempting to rely on problematic techniques like poverty porn, which shows beneficiaries in vulnerable states like pain and despair, and in turn victimizes, degrades, and objectifies them. Studies show that alienating content like this can increase stigma against people in poverty, which puts them in both direct and indirect danger and impedes your ability to help them. It's time to move dollars through inspiration and compassion rather than disgust and pity. Here's how. We can move beyond poverty porn without compromising on donations or emotional resonance. Here are some proven strategies to do so. Storytelling is an easy way to depict people experiencing homelessness with agency and dignity. Here's one example.
Being homeless isn't something you'd expect from a student on a Ford Family Foundation scholarship, but even that money wasn't enough to help with the high cost of housing near campus.
There was some emotional points, where I just was crying because it was hard. How I think about things is I put myself here, so I had to deal with it.
But you put yourself here for a good reason, though, to get through school.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a goal at the end of the tunnel, I guess.
Studies show that stories are an effective medium for transferring empathy and trigger the release of oxytocin, a feel-good hormone that's a, quote, key, it's safe to approach others signal in the brain. So not only does storytelling amplify the voices of people experiencing homelessness, it also makes them seem more approachable and even relatable. Storytelling also avoids poverty porn's problem of oversimplifying causes and solutions, since you can devote time to the complex and intersecting factors behind people's situations. One argument in favor of poverty porn is that it does not shy away from the harsh realities of living in poverty. But fundraisers do not need to objectify or degrade people for the sake of exposition. Watch how this nonprofit in Iowa presents the difficulty of this reality and the impact of its work without showing people in compromising positions.
So how do we do this? Joppa visits with people living under bridges and tents and in vehicles at least once each week, 52 weeks a year, regardless of weather. Most people living in these conditions have exhausted all resources, used up all the time they're allowed to stay at the homeless shelters, and they simply have no place to go.
Poverty porn seems effective in the short term because it manipulates human biases. Sensitive fundraising strategies can use this tactic too, but by leveraging biases that inspire long-term affinity with and compassion for people experiencing homelessness. For example, your organization might consider using in-group bias, which is an us versus them instinct that makes us love, trust, and support people who are similar to us before doing the same for people different to us. By characterizing people experiencing homelessness as relatable people rather than objects of pity, donating to your organization will seem like helping a neighbor rather than a faraway stranger. Another powerful bias is the framing effect, which makes it easier to focus on and remember information that is emphasized or highlighted by a campaign, especially when it's emotional. As the Decision Lab explains, politicians use this bias all the time. Quote, most of us would be more willing to listen to and vote for a political candidate that presents their platform in an emotional speech framed at inspiring change over a candidate with the same platform that presents it in a dreary report. Why then should your campaigns highlight desperation when you could be using the framing effect to make your work seem more attractive and exciting, and by extension, the homelessness crisis solvable? Here's how one shelter in Colorado uses the framing effect in a positive way.
This is amazing. It's wonderful. It provides dignity. It's going to be a home for a homeless person. What you need to see here is how it benefits you. As a taxpayer, permanent supportive housing not only saves lives, it saves money, your money.
The representativeness heuristic tells us that people see the world in categories. So when they subconsciously decide that someone belongs in a certain category, they'll instinctively make assumptions about those people that are hard to shake. When fundraising, try to make sure the people you feature can clearly fit into positive categories, like kind, reasonable, or hardworking. That way, your viewers will be biased into thinking other people experiencing homelessness also have these positive qualities. Watch how this news channel in New Mexico features the voices of people experiencing homelessness to both demonstrate their commitment to the program and advertise the good work of this local employment program.
Instead of going to the mission, at least you get to go to Burger King and McDonald's, and then you go back to the room and you sleep nice and comfortable instead of sleeping in the cardboard.
I got to put some money in my pocket. I helped clean up the community, and it's a good feeling.
Here, at least I got a good day's worth of work in. I don't feel bad because, I honestly worked and earned my wages.
Here are some other ideas to get you started. One surefire way to discuss homelessness without degrading anyone is to avoid human faces entirely, like this creative animated campaign from the UK. Use voiceovers instead as a public platform for your beneficiaries. Or try showing people experiencing homelessness in empowering or interesting settings, like this Buddhist retreat for homeless youth in New York. Finally, prove that homelessness does not define the people you work with by having them discuss something unrelated to their living conditions.
Okay, my wildest dream would be to marry Jessica Alba. No, I'm just kidding, babe. To be a voice actor in like a Pixar movie or like a video game.
Now that we know what sensitive fundraising looks like, let's discuss what your organization can avoid by pointing out some hallmarks of poverty porn. These include campaigns' tendencies to A, oversimplify the causes of or solutions to homelessness, and B, reinforce hierarchies of privilege and power. In traditional poverty porn, fundraisers don't have time to explain why or how their beneficiaries ended up needing support. They simply present a need and frame the solution as a simple donation to their organization. Charities addressing homelessness sensitively can't afford to gloss over these facts. If people aren't given context for the situations they see, they will draw conclusions informed by stigma. For example, when researchers tracked social media responses to this documentary about welfare recipients in the UK, they characterized the majority as, quote, abusing, critiquing, and judging. Many claimed these people needed welfare because they were irresponsible and pointed to their personal hygiene and parenting styles as proof. This has implications for your organization too. People who are seen as unworthy of help are unlikely to attract donations, and generally negative discussions around your fundraising campaigns may sour the reputation of your programs. Similarly, presenting the solution to homelessness as a matter of money can limit the other ways the public can contribute to your work, such as volunteering with you or advocating for policy changes that advance your mission. By empowering viewers to look down on the people they see, poverty porn reinforces social hierarchies of stigma, privilege, and even worth. See how the camera in this example forces viewers to literally look down on this person experiencing homelessness? For a viewer who already considers themselves superior to people experiencing homelessness, this camera angle and thus campaign will affirm, if not also strengthen, their perception of this social power dynamic. To ensure your next campaign doesn't rely on the tactics of poverty porn, ask your team to consider the acronym BEDS, which emulates the safety and comfort of shelters. B, Does your campaign give viewers any reason or opportunity to blame or judge someone for experiencing homelessness? E. Is someone featured in the campaign displaying an extreme negative emotion, such as by crying? D. Does it acknowledge at least one structural and one individual driver of homelessness? And S. Would someone featured in the campaign feel shameful if they saw how they were portrayed, like seeming disheveled or desperate? Thank you for watching this deep dive into sensitive fundraising techniques. We are keen to support your mission of fighting homelessness and are confident that your organization can attract donations without relying on invasions of privacy, displays of vulnerability, or unfair power dynamics. Doing so will not only demonstrate your charity's commitments to justice and empowerment, but also mitigate stigma against people experiencing homelessness. For more examples of non-stigmatizing campaigns in your field, please consider our YouTube channel, linked below. The future of charity fundraising is here, and we love that you are a part of it.